Today I'm using the Henry and Twila stamp set to create a beautiful little simple Valentine's Day card matching some pattern paper for the coloring. I'm going to use some Olo markers to color with. I'm going to start off with her skin. And I just picked out a couple of markers that were a good skin tone color. You can, whatever you have, you can use colored pencils, whatever your favorite color media is. And I'm going to do just simple coloring. I did a little mapping for the shadows first. And I'm going to take and come in with the lightest of my skin tone. And I'm going to add in that color to our little Twila. And you're going to see as we go along how everything comes to life. I did pick everything except the skin color and the hair from my pattern paper that I picked for my color palette, which you'll see in a little while. So after that, I just added in some shadow and I just blended that out on the skin. And again, we're just going to do simple coloring, just 2 markers per color. And I'm just going to do simple coloring because anytime you need to be in a slow, you're in a hurry or you don't have a lot of time to color, sometimes simple coloring is the best way to go. So I did map out the shadows first in her hair where I thought I wanted them to be. And I'm going to come in with the darkest color. The hair is the only thing I actually used 4 colors on. So I'm going to come in now with a darker golden shade and add that in. And we're making her little goldish blonde, brownish blonde hair. So I'm adding in those shadows areas and did add in some right in there. And then we'll blend that out with the next darkest color, which is, by the way, is a YO 2.5 in Olos. So we're just going to go ahead and blend that out. And we will go ahead and move on to our next color, which is our YO 2.3, which is our mid-tone for our little blonde little girl, our golden blonde color. And then I'll use the lightest color, which is the one I mapped out the shadows with to begin with. So I'm just going to go through and blend that out as well. And then I'm going to come in and add some red to her mouth and tongue and some of the hearts that she has cut out. So we're going to go ahead and add in the red. I did pick this out from the pattern paper. I'll show you that in just a little while. But I'm coming in with the lightest color on each of the colors, starting out with the lightest color and then adding just a little bit of that, the darkest, and blending that back out. So for the hearts, I'm just doing every other heart in that red color, because I'm going to do some of them pink as well. I did take, for the small hearts in her hair, I just used 1 shade of color to color those because they're super tiny. There's no reason to blend those. For the pink, I'm going to do that. I did add the pink into her dress and the apron or top of her dress as well. So I'm going to go ahead and fill that all in. And I'm going to think in just a second, and I really think I did it. I thought that I used the wrong color, but I don't think I did. I think I got confused when I took the other lid off. So I'm just going to go ahead and add in my shadows for the pink and blend that out. Just do subtle blending on that. And we will blend her out as well. We're going to repeat these colors a couple times in our process today. So I'm going to add shadows to those little hearts and blend those out. And then we're going to go on to a green shade. I didn't get the perfect match to the pattern paper. Mine's a little bit brighter. It should have been more on the minty side, but mine's just a little bit brighter. I mean, it's close to the darkest color, but not quite there. It's a little bit too bright. I'm going to come back in and pull in the color from her hair. This is just the lightest one that I used. And I'm going to go around the little paper hearts that she has made for her little Valentine to show how much she loves him. Or her, or, whatever. So we're going to add a little shadow to each of those little hearts. I just added them where she was holding the paper hearts and a little bit where there would be an indentation so that it looked more 3-dimensional. Now I'm going to come in with the pink and I'm going to start off with the darkest color and I'm going to go around her, our little Twila with her Valentine's banner. And we will just go follow around the outline. This is a good way to add a pop of color around your stamped image and make it stand out a little bit more on the white cardstock. We are going to blend it out to the white of the paper or close to the white of the paper. but it just helps to ground her and add a little bit more background. Now I'm coming in with that lightest pink color and blending everything out. And I will pull in a 0 marker as well to blend that light color out to the white, or closest to the white of the paper as I can get it. Red's awful hard, and pinks sometimes, to get to blend completely to nothing. So I got it as close as I possibly could. But we're just going to go right over our previously colored area so that we can just get that softened and moistened and blend that as best we can. There is our 0 marker. We're going to blend those edges, or at least soften them some, so that they can not be such a stark line, is what I want to say. We want to make it a little bit softer. So I'm using a chiseled marker for that. I do have a chisel on that particular marker. We're going to go ahead and stamp the inside of our card. And we're going to add some pattern paper as well. But I'm going to go ahead and stamp our little Henry down. And I'm going to pick out the sentiment I want to use for the inside, which just says Happy Valentine's Day, I believe is what it says. Yes, Happy Valentine's Day. And we are going to stamp our little Henry in there as well, so that we have a continuation of our theme on the inside as well as the outside, and everything's nice and cohesive. Plus, it adds you get to use one of those other stamp sets. My card base is just some pink cardstock, and I'm stamping it in a pink ink from my stash that is very similar to the cardstock. And I'm going to stamp this 3 times to get it dark enough so that it stands out from that colored cardstock. Don't be afraid to stamp things multiple times to get them to stand out a little bit more. Now I'm going to go ahead and take that out of the stamp positioning tool. I'm going to add my pattern paper to the front, which is the tone-on-tone pattern. Just nice and subtle, that matches our card base. It's a little bit lighter than that, but it does tie everything together. This is the pattern that I use for pull the colors from, and I'm going to add my color panel on top of that. I decided it would be easier to just attach them all together and use this as one piece to try to get the angle of that back panel right. It was much easier to just treat it as one whole panel and line up my colored image straight and let that other square be kind of off center. But you can be able to see the color palette on there as well. So we're just going to line up our little Twila on the front and get her nice and lined up right there. We will reposition her, get her nice and lined up. And then I did go ahead and stamp my sentiment onto another piece of the pattern paper, just a scrap that coordinated, and I just stamped Be Mine, and I've stamped that in a black ink. So we're going to go ahead and add that. I'm going to add this strip of pattern paper to the inside of the card that ties in the front. It was just the leftover piece from that. I'm going to add that right below our little Henry. I intentionally left that little gap up there. I'll cut off the excess, and we'll just add that. So I'm going to darken up her little eyes with a black gel pen. And I just started it off of the screen onto a scrap piece of paper, and I'm just going to darken those up a little bit. I'm going to then pull in my wink of clear shimmer pen and add some glitter to the hearts, and that she has die cut or cut out and made, and die cut and made. And then we'll add that to the little banner as well, so that is nice and shimmery. I'm going to come in with some white gel pen and add highlights to her hair, as well as the little heart barrettes in her hair and to her little eyes. We'll whiten those back up. And I'm going to add some to her little dress, the pleats of her dress, and to her little sleeves and arms, and to her little face, so that she's nice and highlighted and looks nice and pretty now. So we'll go ahead and finish up our little highlights into each of our little heart, because that glitter has dried now. So I can come back over that and add some more highlights into each one of those. So I'm going to finish up my little highlights, and then I'm going to go ahead and add a few little clay heart embellishments to our card. I added 3 close to the sentiment, 1 in pink, 1 in red, and 1 in white. I started with the red in the center, added the white on the right and the pink on the left. These are the hardest little things to pick up. So there's that. I decided to add 2 more at the top to balance out our little card. So I'm going to add a white one and a red one up at the top. Just using my pickup tool to pick those up and pop those in place. Adding the little glitter. I was going to do the pink, but I decided it didn't stand out enough from that pink pattern paper. It was too close of a match. So I went with the white one instead. Now here is a closer look at our card. Here's a look at the inside. If you need any of the products, they're listed below. I'll see you in the next video. Bye guys, stay crafty, love you.